Welcome to the G.M.A. podcast, Games, Nerds, and Alcohol, where I am so frigging excited to have these two men back in my life. God, that sounded... Nah, I'm good with it. I'm sticking with it. I'm running with it. Getting these two men back in my life, fan-friggin-tastic. I am being joined tonight by D and Shinzu. D, how you feeling tonight, man?
Pretty good. Still on vacation, so I'm good to go.
I love it. Dude, you work too hard, man.
I know.
Really, and that's coming from a workaholic. You work too hard.
Yeah.
And we're being joined tonight by Shinzu. Shinzu, dude, how are you feeling, my man? It's good to see you since last time you had your video off and you didn't want me to let me see that beautiful cranium of yours. Sexy,
I know, I keep it nice and smooth just so I can blind people that drive by me in the highway.
Oh, God, give me some turtle wax.
Exactly.
Oh, God,
surprised I'm even allowed to be back on the show after last week.
You know, ironically, I get that a lot. And, God, who was it? I was talking to somebody, and they were like, yeah, I'm going to keep coming on the show until you kick me off. And I'm like,
that was me.
No, it was somebody other than you.
Oh, Jesus.
I was typing with somebody, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to let you on. They're like, I'm going to keep coming. Because it was funny because it was after you, and somebody else said it. I'm like, God, am I really that shitty of a person? Like, does it sound like I'm going to kick people off all the time?
Nah, I just think with that, eventually, like, we all believe, you know, after like the 6th or 7th time, you're going to be like, I'm really tired of this person, and they're, you know. Dude, go back and listen to some episodes. There are some people that have weeded themselves out, and I put up with them and their shenanigans. So I have, yeah.
Perfectly fine.
For now, and then I'm sure I'll age poorly. Like a box of red wine put inside of a trash can to ferment even further.
I say, dude, unless you like, I mean, and granted, being a dick is kind of subjective, but unless you just start being a dick on the show, you're always going to be welcome. Like,
I could try.
That's how it rolls.
I could try.
That's not a challenge. That is not a challenge.
I could. What about the next TikTok challenge? You just be a dick.
Be a dick on the G.M.A. Well, so first segment of the show, and I'm excited for tonight's because I've got like a little story behind mine. But what is everybody drinking? So, Shinzu, I saw that glass in your hand. It's making my nipples hard looking at it. What are you drinking, good sir?
Well, I've been drinking pretty much since about 4 o'clock, and I have been drinking a 12-year-old Scotch, which is from Nepehaug Valley in Ireland. So it's an Irish Scotch. So technically it's just whiskey, I guess. But it is absolutely delicious, and it's like price point of like $29.99 for 12 years, and it's really good.
Ooh, I gotta ask. I see the look on D's face. What are you about to say?
No, I was muted, and then Mike Meek said, piss off. And now no matter if I mute myself or unmute, it's getting all the background noise. I'm just trying to fix that. So I'm looking at my computer like, why are you a dick today?
I thought you totally had something to say.
You know exactly what that face for. He's constipated.
Very much so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm there. No, so like, have you, the first thing that came to mind when you said a price point on Scotch, have you tried Delmore?
Delmore.
Yeah.
Delmore. You're talking about the one with the fancy glass and like the stag on the front, right?
Yes. Yeah,
I have a 12 and a 15-year-old actually here with me right now, and I absolutely love it. See, I'm a rum burgundy kind of guy. I love Scotch. I love whiskey. I'm a big into bourbon. Some of the best bourbon I've ever had is actually from a distillery not far from me. It's a maple bourbon because, you know, my state, maple everything. It's made by Saxon Distillery, and it's free plug, by the way. But it's out of this world. It's a little on the sweeter side, but it has a nice maple aftertone to it, and it goes down so smooth, and it's so good.
It's ironic that you say bourbon because I'm actually going at the end of August. I'm going on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. A friend of mine, actually, he's been on the show before. Magnate I think I can say this. And I don't think it's a secret. He's getting married. And he asked me if I wanted to go to his bachelor party, which he's going to Kentucky, and he's going to be doing a weekend doing the Kentucky Trail. And when he messaged me up, he's like, "Hey, would you be interested in going?" And I'm like, is there a term more condescending than does a bear shit in the woods? Like, you know, do hookers and blow go together? Like, I was trying to think of something better than that, but I couldn't. So I just responded with, does a bear shit in the woods? So yeah, I'm actually, I'm going to be doing the bourbon trail.
So I'm just going to say that you're doing the bourbon trail, which means that you're going to be a true gentleman and you're going to fill a bunch of Ziploc bags of bourbon and mail them to me, right? So I can also join you without being there.
Oh, I'm probably going to come back with a gaggle of bourbon because I've got bourbon drinkers where I work. Blue Shark is a bourbon fan, so I'm going to be looking out for something for him. I've got I've got so many people that I'm going, yeah, I'm picking up bourbon for, because like, okay, I'm a Scotch person. Like usually when you get people who like they're either a whiskey or a Scotch, or sorry, they're either a bourbon or a Scotch person. It's a rarity that they're between. I
actually have a question for you because because I'm also a Scotch person, but I always like to ask other Scotch people, do you like the peaty Scotch, like a Lafroig, or do you like kind of like the sweeter stuff? Because like Dalmore, for example, they finish theirs in a sherry cask, so it has like a nice sweet aftertone.
So I actually like it. I like Scotch, but I like it depending on the mood I'm in. Like, for instance, if I'm going to go sit down and I'm going to sit outside by a fire and I'm going to have a cigar, maybe an after dinner drink type of thing, I like a little bit more peaty, like Lefroy or like the McClellan. What was it? The 17 or 19 year? I can't remember which one it was, but it was somewhere in the higher teens, McClellan. Nice and peaty, got a little bit of a bite to it, but I like the single barrels more than I like the blends. I'm okay with blends, depending. There's just not a lot of blends I like out there. Now, if I'm just sitting down with a bunch of friends and drink, like we're just going to sit down, have a glass, talk, bullshit. I like the sweeter things like a Glenlivet or a Dalmore. But yeah. Well, Shinzu, what do you got? You got your hand up.
DD as well, but I want to say that. So, have you had Glenfiddich?
Oh yeah,
yeah. So
I've had almost every Glen you can think of.
I went to a local place, and they had a little one of those little gift boxes that had a 12, 15, and 18-year-old, and like the 15-year-old was like spot on. But D.
Oh yeah.
I think Cecil should make like a chart of like which Scotch goes with what, like mood versus like food, or occasion you should have like a little chart going around. And
He's
have
got
like the name of the Scotch.
Dude. He's got like a little Scotch bottle that has like a mood ring built into it.
Well, that's the thing, is that like depending on what mood I'm in is what type of Scotch I like. Like if it's before dinner and it's just a bunch of people sitting around and we're kind of like working up to like grab a meal or something, I'll totally grab something sweeter. Something that's finished in a sherry cask, or even the ones that were finished in. Have you had the? Oh crap! I can't remember if it was Glenlivet or Glenfiddich. I think it was Glenfiddich, finished in an IPA barrel.
I had not, but I'd be very interested in trying it. I'm also like a very, very much a single malt kind of guy. Like I don't like the blended scotches too much because I kind of like have this weird view where like, you know, they have some of like a really nice 12-year left or a 15-year left, but they don't have enough to like put into a ton of bottles. So they just basically mix it with a lot of the newer stuff, and then it's a blended. But like the single malt, and so I'm like, you know, that is it when they put it into a hop barrel, or you know, is that a single malt or is that a blended they put in there?
No. So it's typically actually, you know what? I don't know. I don't remember if that Glenfiddich is I think it's a Glenfiddich. I don't remember if it's a blend or not. I'll look it up. And I'll send you a link for it. Or I mean, you can look it up yourself.
I think it is a Glenfiddich because I also ran into Glenfiddich does a lot of stuff. There is like a coffee Scotch too, and I'm not about that at all.
Yeah, I'm looking it up quick right now to see what it is. Oh no, it's a first single malt Scotch, so it's a single malt.
Very nice.
Finished in Indian Pale Ale craft beer cask. Yeah, I like. There are just so many out there. Cooper's Choice, the 1994 Cooper's Choice, mildly peaty, not too peaty, but mildly peaty. Great. But yeah, so like, sorry, I got a deviation. So like, usually you have Scotch people and bourbon people. Very rarely do you find somebody who likes both of them. I don't, it's weird. Like, I don't not like, wait a minute. What's the word? Like, I like bourbon, But if I had to say which one I like more, I like Scotch more than I like bourbon.
See, I'm a right in between. So I'm an equal opportunity alcoholic. I'll drink anything that's put in front of me, with the exception of tequila. I do not like tequila. But when it comes to bourbon or Scotch, that is my mood liquor. Like, if I want something to just kind of like mellow out, and it's definitely going to be a Scotch. If I'm feeling like, I want something a little bit on the harsher side, bourbon. But also, I do tend to go to bourbon when I make like old fashions or cocktails. And it's amazing. It's so good.
I could see that. Well, let's kick on here. D, what are you drinking, man?
I'm actually drinking some Kraken rum mixed with the zero sugar Coca-Cola.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love Kraken.
Yep. So I grabbed some. I know that it's a sipping rum rather than a mixing rum rather than a sipping rum. So I went ahead and just mixed it.
See, I disagree with that. I honestly, I do enjoy Kraken by itself. There are very few rums out there that I enjoy drinking just by themselves. Kraken is actually one of them.
I agree with D. Kraken is a bit rough. Like, it's not so much the flavor of it that's rough. It's that the bite, like that rum bite at the end, it masks all that sweet molasses flavor that you would get out of it when you mix it. I mean, I mix pretty heavy. I do like a 50-50 when I do mixes of Kraken, but just having that little bit to cut that bite really brings out some more of that caramel flavor. Plus, if you're doing something like Pepsi or Coke that already has a caramel flavor to it, it really enhances that for me. I mean, if you dig it sipping it, that's awesome. When I think of a sipping, I think of more like pirate.
Hey, there's no kink shame in here, so if you enjoy your liquor, you enjoy your liquor. The only thing that we can all agree on is that anything in a plastic handle is absolutely awful.
Yeah.
Ooh, that brings me back to Stalingrad vodka.
Do you guys remember way back when I was a wee little lad, I went out and I got like my first handle of vodka, and I was so proud of it. It was like Ghibli's vodka or some shit. And I brought it to the party that we almost died at, and it was. I don't think anyone touched it because I'm pretty sure it just ate through it just ate through the bottle.
Yeah, that's like there are some out there, like there are some boozes that like, oof, big oof.
I will be having some really good vintages pretty shortly.
How do you figure?
Well, in halfway through August, I'm heading over to see my buddy Matt over in Germany. So I'm heading for a week in Germany, going to chill out with my army buddy.
And you didn't invite me.
Yeah, you didn't invite me either. But granted, I've already got 2 vacations in August.
It's your friend.
But then again,
I'm your brother.
No, but
I don't have a passport, so
yeah, I've got my everything set up. I mean, I'll get a free place to stay. Matt's a good guy. He's the guy that I stayed with when I was there over in Germany for 2.5 months.
I would love to go drinking with you. Not Cecil. There's very few people I know that could drink me under the table. Cecil's definitely one of them.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, that's how it rolls out. Like, I don't want to drink with you. Well, that makes much more sense. Why you
I have
drink with me. Okay,
I have a legendary
that.
liver along my current group of friends, and I've told them horror stories about you. I was like, you think I can drink? You think I can put them away? This man, you assume he's dead because the amount he can drink and still remain upright. It's insane.
I don't do too bad myself.
Well, you got weight on me. I guess man. That's the difference.
I do have a lot of weight.
If I'm going to have a reputation to precede me, I guess doesn't die from alcohol is a good
one. It really
one.
is. Also, if the zombie apocalypse does occur, you'd be like a pickled human, which they might enjoy or might not like.
Yeah, they might just take a bite out and be like, and the amount of alcohol going through my system, the virus will get in and go, oh shit, no, we're out of here.
You know what we could do is we could just put a little like needle in you and just treat your blood as a hand sanitizer.
Did you guys ever read The Andromeda Strain? Michael Crichton's The Andromeda Strain.
But I have a feeling I need to.
I will. Okay. So like it's actually a really good book. Deals with pathogens and all that crap. But anyway, in it they find 2 different, and I'm not going to ruin the book, but they find 2. Okay, I'm not going to ruin the book a lot. In the first chapter of the friggin' book, they find this village that's been like everybody's dead in. But they find 2 people alive. One of them, this old dude. And I'm like, I'm the old dude in the Andromeda strain. Like the virus gets into me and says, what the fuck are we going to do here? Like literally, are we going to kill this guy? This guy should be dead already. Why are we going to try? Yeah, if you haven't read the Andromeda strain,
honestly, 100%. I don't read as much as I should. I will admit, like some of the best things I have read was back when I borrowed those books from you, the Resident Evil books from you, and like there's that one passage or like that one chapter in the book where like they're trying to like take out this umbrella facility that had basically just started a bunch of crap up, and this dude had actually managed to train like the zombies to like follow orders, but one of them was like messing around on the operating table and then like scratched her eye and she became infected because of course you do that, look, blood. And then like the dude was just eating the dude's face and he just like smile, and he made him smile even though she was like chewing on his like cheek, and I'm like,
dude, that's the second book that had Rebecca Chambers as the main protagonist, and it was Cabin's Cove or Cabin's Cove or Corbin's Cove or something. Yes, and then she sit there. And what she did is she looked at dried blood, or she scratched some dry blood that was on an operating table, looked at it, sniffed it, and was like, ew. And then later on, it wasn't even like right then and there. It was later on, like a chapter later, she scratches her eye. And they said something like she got something in her eye and she scratches her eye. And that's like, it was beautiful.
It was that Ex Machina though, later on in that book with like, somebody had like a lucky grenade. They just kept tossing them.
Oh, you mean like the Sarge jump?
It was like somebody just happened to have like a lucky, like it was one of those old like World War II grenades, the mashed potato grenades, and they just happened to have it, and they ended up dying as a result, and she used that to escape. But like those book series, they also delve into like, you know, a lot of like what the big Mr. X guys were, which was insane to me, and all that good stuff. But
especially at the time, and I think I like the way the books went over where the video games went.
I do too, because like I feel like the video games went in the same trope. Like you have Resident Evil, right? A survival horror game. Initially, like the camera angles were garbage, but they led a lot to the suspense and the terrifyingness. Like you hear the zombie on the other corner of the screen, you can't see it, so you wait like 10 minutes, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess I'll just, you know, go ahead and see what happens, because the zombie's obviously at the opposite end of the hall, and the minute the camera flashes, the zombie's like right on top of you, and you're like, ah!
Yeah.
But Cecil, at least your body's not so bad that you get an exorcism performed on you, because the demon that tried to get inside goes, nope, want back out. Call up the priest. Let me the fuck out of this guy.
Yeah. I don't know why I feel compelled to call this priest and ask for an exorcism. It's so strange. Well, I gotta tell you what I'm drinking tonight. And the reason I gotta tell you about this is because I do not like sours. I will say it again. I do not like sour beers. The sours, I hate them. I've always hated them. I've never liked them. I have never found one I like up until Thursday. So I went over, we had some people come from California and Hawaii. They were visiting in, and we took them out for, you know, a meal and then some beers, because of course they're in town, like they don't know what to do. So I went to the Vale Brewery in Richmond. While we were there, we're sitting there, we're looking at some stuff, and we're trying some beers, and somebody had said, hey, that one there, and this beer is called Tefnut Fluffy Mango Pineapple Trace. That's the name of this. Okay? And I'll show you the can. It's got a really cool onk on it.
Oh, it's nice and polished too, so it's almost like a mirror too.
Yeah, and it's not like it's really well put on there. Like it's a sticker on, you know, on the can, but it's really well done. Anyway, so this is done, and whoever's listening, you might know who this is, but it's done by the Vale, and the Vale did a collab with Omnipollo. So if you know Omnipollo beers, you know what I'm about to talk about here. So this is, I'll read you the can. It's a triple fruited Imperial Gauss ale with mango, passion fruit, marshmallow, vanilla, and Thai ginger salt. It's 10% by volume, which is freaking amazing. And I'm going to hold this up so that you can see this, because I want you to see like how the top of the glass is. Now, this is not like a beer. This is more like a smoothie, okay? And the look on your face, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh my God, why would you put that into your body? This is so good.
What I'm thinking is that it looks like you drank that beer, immediately rejected it, and then started drinking it again.
That's the thing. That's what this beer looks like. It literally, if I was to describe what this looks like, this looks more like orange juice than it does a beer. You said it was
triple fruited, right? So there's a ton of fruit, and they probably left it unfiltered.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100% unfiltered. Like this is a pulpy drink. It's or at least it feels pulpy when I'm drinking it. I'm going to tell you though, this is an amazing beer, and it's literally blowing my mind because I don't like sours, and this is a sour beer. But here, I'm going to see if I can give you the hits as I do this. So on the nose, you really get that mango smell. And the attack is like 100% mango. As it washes over, though, it has like this passion fruit flavor and that citrusy kind of kick to it. And it gives you that like side of your mouth, like sour, like smacking. And then like at the very, very tail end, as you breathe out, like the exhale, you get this little bit of marshmallow to it. It's just such a wild frigging beer. It's just like, oh. But yeah, it's a wild beer. And I'll say it again for any of those listening. It's a combination of the Veil and Omnipollo Tefnut Fluffy Mango Pineapple Trace. So check it out if you can get your hands on it. I don't even know if it's being sold. I immediately picked up a 4-pack because it's good.
It is hard to find a good sour that I enjoy too, because sometimes they're sometimes they're like almost vinegary.
Yes. And this has got all the good parts of a sour. Oh man, it's like drinking a beer smoothie. That's the best way I can describe it. Like I
agree, because sours are sometimes harsh. You know, it really depends on the sour for me.
Yeah, this 100%. As I said, I do not like sours. I like this.
Well, actually, here's a question for the group, because this is honestly something I'm not aware of. Like, what is your favorite type of drink? Both D and Cecil.
Are we talking beer, or are we talking liquor?
We'll go with beer,
or is just like favorite all around? Okay. I really like stouts and porters. I think those are the only ones that I can want to drink whatever mood I'm in. Typically, though, I shy away with stouts only because they like people get really crazy with stouts and they start making them not taste like stouts. I like that stout flavor that I'm going to describe it as the burnt flavor. Like that specific stout flavor you get. I like that flavor. And when you get too far away from that, I don't like it. But I'm going to go stouts porter range.
I prefer Hefeweizens or Crystal Weissens. The only difference between the two is the Crystal Weissens are filtered and Hefeweizens are non-filtered. They're I like German beer that's a little bit on the sweeter flavor, and I just absolutely love them. I don't think I've found one that I don't like.
I only ask because I'm going to be brewing some beer in the next couple weeks, most likely, depending upon availability of the person I brew with. And the project was going to be, or is going to be, a shandy for the remaining portion of the summer. But the next one on deck is going to be a stout.
Well, the shandy is just beer and soda.
No, this shandy. I've ever drank in England. Shandies are typically a beer with a fruit. Like it's going to be like a Hefeweizen with like lemon in it to make it like a light, refreshing drink to have during the summer. In this particular instance, I've never had a shandy with soda.
So, like, we always used to drink shandies, and a shandy in England. If you order a shandy, it's literally like a lager with like lime soda.
We drink it with fruit.
I'm allergic to lemons, so. probably
it's
lying.
not for you, obviously. So what I can do, D, because the next one I do, and obviously Cecil, you're not going to enjoy this one because it's too far out there. Is I have a recipe I've kind of like created of a chocolate stout. So it's going to be a chocolate stout, but while I don't have a barrel, I'm going to basically taking some of the oak stabs that you can get for like doing wine and whatnot, and I'll be soaking them in apple brandy, and then basically trying to simulate a aging within a brandy barrel.
Oh, you can do that. Yeah, like I've got some of those where they're like the sticks that you just stick in with whatever clear liquor you're doing, and it ages the whatever it is. Like I have a cocktail
and I'm
aging
hoping
kit.
that
It's
it
pretty
comes
cool.
out really well. We're only gonna this particular brew is only going to be able to happen once because the company that makes the local company that makes the apple brandy that I'm going to be using no longer makes the apple brandy. So this will be a one and done sort of situation. But I will save you and I'll save D a bottle of it, and if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. And if you don't, it's still going to be high ABV, so you'll enjoy it anyway.
Question, is the chocolate stout going to be chocolate because just the flavor of the hops, or are you actually using chocolate in it? Because I'm allergic to cocoa chocolate.
Oh, it's going to have cocoa nibs in it. Sorry, man.
Sorry, I'm done. I can't have it then, unfortunately. I'm a killjoy.
You're like a kid that again is allergic to peanuts, so I can't bring a peanut butter and jelly sandwich to school.
Right. Well, all right. Well, second segment game or of show. Jeez. Second segment is Steady Games. So Steady Games is where we talk about what we've been playing for the past week, or we pontificate how we feel gaming is just in general. So I was going to say, hey, D, you go first since I started with Shinzu, but you are shoveling food into your face. So Shinzu, what's your State of Games? No, don't stop eating. Keep going.
I'm at the moment just marveling the amount of food he's shoveling into his face right now.
Like seriously, that was like sick. That like he definitely did not swallow in between shovel there. Like it was six.
No, it
full
was like a
shovels
dog you
into
give to
the
a treat,
face.
and like if
Like,
you give the
still
dog a
chewing,
treat, he
mid-chew.
basically acts like he hasn't eaten in like 6 weeks. Just basically swallows your hand whole. But my state of games is I'm still playing the same game I was playing last week, and I really haven't done too much because I went kayaking. I spent a lot of time outside this past week, so I did kayaking. But I was playing, Destiny 2 because I can't. Like, I don't know what's wrong with that game, other than that it's fucking awful. But at the same time, I can't stop playing it with my friends.
That's what it is. It's the friend thing.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a shared misery.
We
As
just
long as
sit
you can
there
play
with
with somebody
giving
else.
ourselves paper cuts and soaking them in lime juice or lemon juice, and then rubbing salt into the wounds as we play this game and think about how amazing it could have been if they just stopped recycling the same crap over and over again. But it's coming to the end. This season's coming to a close, and the solstice is next week. So after that, and 2 or 3 weeks after that, the next season will become available, and that eclipses what I've paid for, and I'm not putting any more money into that game. I've bought the last expansion, the Sabbathune one. I bought the Supreme Collection one that allowed me to have like the first 2 seasons for free, and I'm not buying anymore because I was so disappointed in the last like 2 seasons. I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. But that allowed me to get through the backlog of games I have. However, on deck is I do want to get a Nintendo Switch. I had one, sold it, and now I'm kind of regretting it because I want to start playing through like the Secret of Mana series they have on the store, along with a lot of those Zeldas. Not necessarily the Breath of the Wild, but like the old school Zeldas that they ported over.
Say minus the Zeldas. I was going to say, well, if you're talking about playing the Mana stuff, have you considered getting a Steam Deck? But as soon as you said Zelda, I'm like, no.
And I did consider
rules
getting
out
a
the
Steam Deck, but a lot of the games I want to play are for Nintendo. I'm just really sad that certain games from the SNES. So one of my favorite games,
go ahead.
and I feel kind of bad about this because D and I were growing up, and D owned these games, but every time he would like leave, I would play them while he wasn't around. Secret of Evermore is a highly underrated game, and I'm so sad that did not get ported over to the Switch. Also, Illusion of Gaia. Come on, Nintendo, get that game on the platform.
Okay, so I'm going to bring this up now since you went back far enough that this actually works. Have you heard of RetroArch? Fire up Steam and search for Retro. I think it's called RetroArch, specifically on Steam. But they released this just prior to releasing the Steam Deck, and it allows you to okay, let's start off with the legality stuff here. You have to, of course, legally own the game before you use any ported ROM or anything of that sort, pulling it over. However, this allows you to actually play it on your Steam Deck, but it natively sets all the settings and everything else for you, so you can play Secret of Remorse.
Of
Secret
course,
of Mana,
I will always own a game before I get a ROM of something.
100%, and we support all legalities here at G.M.A. Exactly. Would you download a car? Would you download a house? Would you download a $40,000 bottle of liquor?
I mean, if you could 3D print a bottle of scotch or a bottle of liquor, I absolutely would download that today.
This is all starting to sound like some Star Trek piracy going on around here. Where the hell are these replicators? Because I want one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm backtracking on the legality thing. If I could download a bottle of $40,000 bottle of scotch, I'd do it.
In the Star Trek universe, the replicators were not allowed to dispense alcohol. So you can do synthahol. So you lose, get out, your nerd license has been revoked.
Yes, but we're talking about a replicator for ours, just like Star Trek, not the actual exact replica here. So yeah, it's a simile.
Good point.
No, I know he's just trying to backtrack. He's trying to backtrack.
No, but I agree. I want
would
these versions of the replicator.
I think I went to a party once and they were serving Romulan ale, and that stuff was it's so good. It's so alcoholic, but it's so good.
Well, I haven't been playing a lot of games lately because, I've been on, I went to Legoland first, which was awesome. So we went to Legoland, took the kids to Legoland. Afterwards, what's up, Shinzu? You look like you're kind of...
Where the fuck was my invite?
Turns out Shinzu wants to go with you. He hasn't talked to you in forever. We just brought you back together.
No, you brought him here to rub my face in the fact that he got to go to Legoland.
Dude, don't worry. I didn't get to go to Legoland either.
Yeah, so we stayed in the hotel. We did kind of electronics-free weekend to get the kids away from electronics for a few. So we did the whole Legoland thing, the whole experience, being in the hotel, going through the park. We did that. We went through the Mystic Aquarium, did the Mystic Aquarium thing, and then we went and saw my grandmother and went to the beach and everything else. We just got back. I have been playing a little bit because when we got back from Legoland, we did bring the Switches and everything else. So I was playing my Final Fantasy on Steam Deck again, the Pixel remaster of the Final Fantasies. Yeah, and I've been playing on the Switch. I just started playing Cotton. It's an old side-scrolling shooter, which is really good, but they did a reboot on it on Real's strictly limited games. So it finally came in after pre-ordering that like a couple of years ago. So I was playing that on the Switch, which is really a lot of fun.
I actually have a question for you, because I don't own a Steam Deck. So does Steam Deck, you mentioned a few titles on Steam Deck. Are you allowed to do those offline play, or do you have to be online to play those?
So far as I know, you have to be online, because my Steam Deck wasn't working offline for those. But what I did is I just did a hotspot with my phone, and I was playing.
Boo, Wendy Testaburger, boo.
So there's a bunch of games that I can
play Terraria was one, I believe.
On my Steam Deck. Yeah, there are plenty of games that you can play offline. It's just if the game itself requires an online DRM,
most do.
Which unfortunately a lot of games that you get do have an online check, an online DRM check. But there were plenty of games that I was playing that did not require that. Like I want to say Shadows of Mordor did not require me to be online. And I'm just going on a list of games I was playing. No Man's Sky did not require an online check.
So cool games.
I can't remember what else I was playing there. Terraria didn't. Well, I mean, like there's some games that are it's all depends on the maker, and Square Enix is definitely going to protect
I was
their
looking to
IPs.
get Final Fantasy off like Google Android, the Google Play Store, and the reviews are like, you have to be online to play. You have to be online to play, and I'm like, oh, the only reason I'd download those games to play would be if I was, on an airplane or something along those lines.
So positive, again, with the retro arc is that unless you were looking for the pixel remasters, of course, but a lot of those old school games, since they load off the ROM, you could still play them offline.
I honestly prefer the non-redone versions of those games. Like, I love the pixelated versions of American version of Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy 6 in actuality. Like, I love the old pixelated versions of those things. They're just that is the sweet spot to me.
Well, the pixel remasters are actually they're the old games, but they're like the edges and stuff are sharpened up. The music is redone better. So like there are things, I don't know how deeply you got into ROMs or if you got into ROMs, but like you can take ROMs, you can decompile them, and then you can add in stuff like I've got a ROM of Final Fantasy IV because I have every version of Final Fantasy IV in existence. Like I have every cartridge. I have the Japanese versions. Like I have every possible way that you can buy Final Fantasy IV. I have. So as I say that, just keep in mind, I have every single one. And I don't mean that as a joke. I literally have every single one. But I have a version of Final Fantasy IV that actually took, do you remember there was an album that came out forever ago called Celtic Moon? It was music from Final Fantasy IV, but it was done in the Celtic arrangement. I actually took all of that, dubbed it into the actual ROM itself, so that when I play the ROM, I have the
that's
Celtic
too much
Moon
work for me. Like I
background.
have a RetroPie that I made that has a ton of old games that I do actually own, and it goes all the way up to Nintendo 64. Like I have 007 on that one, but I've never actually decompiled it and then like put things into it.
Yeah, all I mean is that like you can find versions out there that are like they've got like the new pixel remasters, the things that they've done to it, people have already done with the old ROMs, and like they were good. They were creature comfort improvements. They were good things. They weren't like total game overhauls.
Yeah, I don't like the game overhauls where they completely take the graphics and make them to be almost like current gen, but they're not quite current gen, and they just kind of look weird.
Yeah.
One thing that irritates me with the pixel remaster of FF1 and a lot of the redo ones, they took out the silver sword in the Elf Village. I always save up the $4,000 to get that and be have an overpowered sword for a while. Damn you!
I can definitely think of a remaster that D would
things.
love to play. And it'd be that Tropic Island game that he always died because in the original version...
Star Tropics.
I'm sorry. Star Tropics. I never really got to play the game because he was mean and wouldn't let me play it. But there was one level where the... I don't know who created the game versus like who planned it out, but part of the ground wasn't actually part of the ground. So it was like a trial and error. If you stepped on a piece of what seemed like solid earth, you fell into it and it was water.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that game. That was a fun game. God, you know what? If they did a remake of Star Tropics, I'd play it. I would play it.
You know, if you visit, you can play the game because I got all that stuff here.
Well,
yeah, I'm pretty sure you have some of my games down there too.
No. Nope.
That's a
100%
no.
absolutely does
100%
because
yes.
we left my younger brother and I left a lot of games in the upstairs loft, and I went home recently and they were all gone.
Mom and Dad shipped out a lot of stuff today to our brother.
That was a mistake.
They shipped a bunch of shit. That's where.
See that? Deflection.
He's not denying it, but he's not saying he has it. He's being a politician in regards to this shit.
So my state of games, I have been playing actually a bunch because I have had a great chance to play out with the Steam Deck a bunch. I've been playing Shadows of Mordor. I've actually gotten all the way through that. I think I have like 4 missions left of the go save the slaves. But I've done everything I can in that. I love it. I'm going to be switching over to Shadows of War here for when I travel up to New York, which is going to be in a couple of weeks. So we'll have it's either going to be an impromptu episode or we're going to skip that week. I don't know how it's going to work out. I'll play it by ear. Like if I'm up there and all of a sudden people are like, "Hey, let's go record," I'll be like, "Yeah, come over, let's record."
Now, the only thing I have of yours, Shinzu. Sorry, I thought you were done, Cecil. No, my bad.
No, mid-sentence.
The only thing I have is what Mom and Dad said. Hey, he said you could have it if you want it back as your Fire Emblem for the GameCube.
You son of a bitch!
Hasn't even been touched. It's been in the case. It's right here. But Mom said, "Hey, I think everything you left, you said you could have or whatever." It's like, okay.
No, I never said that shit. And
you know what?
Also, no.
but it's here. I haven't even touched it. I haven't even played it. It's just here, so it didn't get thrown out or something happened to it. So you can have it back. No, it's just sitting on the shelf. Yep.
Look at that. Getting reunited with our games here. So, anyways, I've been playing that. Shadows of War is up on deck. I'm going to be playing that soon. But I fell into an old game that I keep falling back into. Everybody has their game that they just go back to when they're just, when they just want to start playing stuff. Like, D, I'm pretty sure Terraria is that game for you, because I always see you going back to Terraria. But that game for me, and I'm pretty sure everybody who's listened to this show ever has heard me talk about it, I jump back into No Man's Sky. I just have I just love that game. I really do love that game. It's the mechanics of it are super simple, but they're fun and still that feeling of breaking Atmo. Like you just jump in your ship and you're like, I'm gonna break Atmo. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna call my freighters. Oh shit, some pirates are attacking me. I need help. My squadron's gonna show up and help me out. Like I just have a love for that game and Hello Games just keeps making it better because they keep adding more and more stuff. The newest expedition is pretty friggin' wild. I'm back into that game, and that game plays very well. And a big plus for Hello Games is
all that DLC, all that stuff they're adding and correcting is free. They're not charging. They just keep on making that game better, and it is a lot of fun.
And the cool part about it is, I'll say the cool part. Because they keep adding to it and keeping it fresh, the game legitimately still sells for full price. For a full price game. And legitimately, no matter when you buy it, you're buying it and you're getting more, you're getting that extra content and it keeps it fresh enough. Now, granted, you can still buy it on sale. They still sell it cheaply. I think you can get the disc version of it for one of the consoles really stupid cheap. And if that's just how you want to get into the game, go do it. Or if you own Xbox Game Pass, I think you get it as part of Game Pass right now too. So go check the game out. Seriously. Give the game a chance. It's stupid fun. And if you do jump on, message me. I will jump on and play. I will help you out. I will not ruin the game for you. I am not D where I'm going to go down to the middle of the world, kill the wall of flesh, and then just say bye.
A funny thing, you mentioned, Cecil, I got the PS5, the physical thing, but I have No Man's Sky digital, and that was one of the first games I re-downloaded onto my PS5. Because I'm trying to conserve space because it has limited space. And that was one of the games it's like, yep, that is going back on because I know I'm going to play this and I know I'm going to play it with Cecil.
It's such a stupidly fun game. And the okay, it's not that difficult of a game. The mechanics are super simple. And quick synapse, you wake up on a planet all alone. You find a ship, you've got to repair said ship with materials that are on the planet. Then when you get up into Atmo, you've got to figure out a way to jump planet to planet to fix your hyperdrive or make a hyperdrive. And then you got to fuel your hyperdrive. You jump from system to system. And there's so many different branching arcs in it, whether you're trying to get to the center of the universe or whether you're trying to find this Atlas guy and follow that whole path. There's just so many different arcs in it. There's so many things to do, and depending on, now that they added base management with it now. So you find colonies on planets, you take over said colony, you defend said colony, you build said colony up, you make money from said colony. It's just, they've added so much stuff to it. It's just
the most difficult part for me in that game is to stop tormenting the wildlife. I get my ass kicked when I start poking at the wildlife.
Dude, most difficult part of that game is that I will fire it up and I'll be like, yeah, no, I'll just go run this quest. Ah, man, I'll finish this quest. Oh crap, I got this quest. Let me go finish this out since I'm right close to it. Next thing I know, it's 2:00 in the morning and I'm going, you know what? I'm just going to fly to this other planet because I haven't actually mapped this one yet. So I'm just going to go there, map it, drop on. Then I'm frigging scanning everything.
I mean, the procedural generated planets is pretty brilliant how they did that.
I mean, okay, it is and it isn't. Like, I'm kind of like on the fence with procedural stuff.
That's what I mean.
Technology that are using,
and I mean, to design that many unique things, like, just full out flesh it out in a game would be enormous. So I'm procedural generated for something that massive makes sense because otherwise it would be like a 20 terabyte game, as opposed to like the size that it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the game that's coming out that Bethesda's coming out with is Starfield. I am holding my breath for that game. And the reason I am, that's the only reason I am, is because a lot of the early reviews of it have compared it to No Man's Sky. But what they're doing is they're saying, like, one of the things that they're commenting on is that Starfield has only got like 1,000 worlds in it or something like that. Now, I've played a lot of No Man's Sky. I am 100% confident I have not searched 1,000 worlds. I know that I have not. So if there's 1,000 worlds in Starfield, that's a lot. And I doubt that you're going to get to every single world and really explore it completely. On the opposite end of that, and I see your hand up, give me just 2 seconds. On the opposite end of that, I don't feel like Bethesda is notorious for being like, hey, this is a capital city. And it's like a guard shack and 2 huts. And you're like,
But it's going to have something that No Man's Sky does not have. 1,000 bugs and glitches. No, but I mean, Bethesda's legendary for
No Man's Sky's had a lot of bugs and glitches. Like, okay. I know the joke, yeah.
Yeah, Bethesda's going to make that game so that way all the galactics are going to go opposite way and they're going to go flying through the system. I can't wait until watching 2 planets collide. Just the hell that's going to happen.
Have you guys played a game called The Outer Worlds?
A little bit. I tried a little bit. I haven't really gotten into it.
Okay. The Outer Worlds, if you haven't played it, it's like Groundhog's Day, but on a small solar system level. Like, literally, you start off the game, you are like, hey, this is our first space flight, or this is your first space flight, not ours. This is your first space flight. You just become an astronaut type of person. So you go to your ship, you get in it, you fly around, but literally, like, the star goes supernova. And at a certain time in gameplay, I think it's like 23 minutes, the star goes supernova and you die. And then everything reverses and you're back to that moment where you were sitting around the fire with marshmallows. And then you keep going, but all the information that you unlock, you still remember. So your character still remembers everything that happens, but it's happening over and over again. And you're unlocking like what this ancient race was, what was happening, all this jazz. It's a silly, fun game. And it has that kind of like, the mechanics of it have that No Man's Sky mechanics of like jumping up, you're going to another planet, but it's very rudimentary, the ship that you're on. And it makes some things very kind of, I don't know, awkward because you got to land and like, it's really tough. It's like those games where, you're in, like, you got this little ship and you've got to like use your thrusters and you've got to like touch your thrusters and feather them so that you land gently. Otherwise you damage your ship and then you got to go fix shit up. So Outer Worlds, if you haven't checked that out, it's on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, you have it. Go check it out. It's worth at least a little playthrough. And I think you could probably get through it in like, I want to say 6 to 8 hours. Honestly, if you crank through, I mean, if you're an explorer, it might take you a little longer. And what else? There's one other game. Oh, The Quarry. I jumped back in and played a little bit more of The Quarry. They released multiplayer for that, so I'm really excited about jumping into that and playing some multiplayer with other people who have it. It's just a stupid fun game. Horror game. It's like watching a horror movie. Is it the best one out there? Absolutely not. Is it fun? absolutely is. There's probably other horror games out there that tell the story better, but I kind of like how Supermassive Games has switched things around and made it more of a movie-like experience. That's what I really dig, or a cinematic experience. But yeah, like, I really don't like the characters that are in it, minus the first couple of characters that are there. The characters in it, like almost every one of them, I just don't like. Like, there's a couple of them I'm like, okay, I'm okay with you, but most of the time I'm sitting there going, God, I think I might just get you infected.
Hopefully they'll fix the little bit of graphics that make their faces look odd, because it's like I cannot look away. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they had some weird facial animations, but Supermassive Games has always suffered with that.
But you know what that main character reminded me of with the jaw to the side? The Witcher, like that one, the one witch before she became beautiful. It reminded me kind of that.
Oh yeah, yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, Yennefer.
Yavin.
Yeah, when he had the jaw to the side type, it just reminded me of that. I just could not stop noticing.
Yeah, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Alrighty, well, meat of the show. So now that we're, I don't know, what have we been recording for like 3 hours now, and we haven't actually talked about the actual topic. The actual topic, which probably isn't going to be that long, was music, actually. So we nerd out about a whole bunch of different things. And one of the things that has been mainstream right now is music. One of the things that kind of cropped up, if you haven't seen Stranger Things, which I hope, have both of you seen all of Stranger Things, the latest season yet? Oh, D, you haven't?
Yeah,
have you at least got to like the last couple of episodes?
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. I watch it once in a while, but it's not a major thing for me. You can ruin it.
All right. Well, one of the things that came up in one of the latest episodes and that everybody's talking about is Eddie's character and how they used a scene or song from Metallica, Master of Puppets. And it fit, like, there's some other songs. Like, I would have really loved to see like like maybe Judas Priest or an Iron Maiden song. Like, that would have been awesome to play in there. But I think Master of Puppets definitely fits the storyline and everything else that's there. But the thing that comes to mind when I see, and really when I see anything Metallica being used out there, just sends me back to like the mid 90s and the whole, like, everybody, and I mean everybody, was all so fearful of the music industry collapsing from a little program called Napster. And everybody was like, oh my God, music sharing is going to totally turn this world upside down and the industry is going to lose so much money. And they probably did lose some money, but the people who lost the money are probably like the record companies versus the actual artists. Because the artists, like, they're making their money from tours. They're making their money from fans showing up. Like, you know how much money they made off of fucking
Actually, I think
they made like a couple percent.
One of the statistics, but I mean, I've got to go back and look again. But one of the statistics, I think, is actually that Napster actually increased sales because people listened to a couple songs and said, shit, I like that album, and went out and bought it. So really, I think it was credited with actually increasing sales, if nothing else. Although people like, Lars from Metallica went a fucking, vengeful, like, quest to defeat the evil Napster there, but it actually helped them out a bit.
Oh, dude, and that literally that shaped a gargantuan amount of the music world for years after that. Like there were people down that divide of, where you basically, it was like the Metallica side of the house, or were you the first ones I thought of were, I think, like Foo Fighters, who just were like, well, here we go. We're just going to release an album. Like, we're going to make an album and we're going to release it on Napster for free. Everybody can just go download it. Our album's out there. We'd like you to go buy it, but here's
the
our
funny
music.
thing is,
Go
do you know
download it.
You know what Foo Fighters actually are? No. The term Foo Fighters, what a Foo Fighter actually is.
The band?
Well, so the main lead singer, of course, of Foo Fighters is deeply into the UFO stuff and all that. And Foo Fighters were unidentified flying objects, basically UFOs during the time of like World War II, where they were seeing them, flying about, and the pilots couldn't identify what it was. Obviously, probably was enemy ships, missiles, a lot. They credited a lot to like stress of the battle, but a lot of them swore they saw the alien aircraft, and they were dubbed Foo Fighters. And since the lead singer of the Foo Fighters is heavily into that stuff, yeah, because he started To the Stars Academy. He's trying to get the Pentagon to release more stuff about UFOs and everything else. Tom DeLonge. So he's really into that. So that's where that all came from, which is really neat. Just a cool side note.
Yeah. But back to cranking out here. And it's funny because back in the 90s, you guys totally remember and there was it was a YouTube video that came on. Maybe it wasn't 90s. Maybe it was early 2000s. Yeah, I think Napster was early 2000s.
Napster was certainly before YouTube. YouTube came out in the 2000s, but Napster was around for a little while. I don't remember exactly when it came out. But I think
I want to say that Napster came out. I want to say Napster came out the early 2000s. I'm almost positive it was when I was in college the first time.
Remembers Napster.
All right, hold on. Let's Google this shit. When was Napster? June 1st, 1999.
Knew it had to be earlier. Yep.
Oh, YouTube was created 2005. Well, I was right with Napster being the early 2000s because I don't think it. I mean, I remember it being around, but I don't remember it really getting big notoriety. At least I will
say that Napster gained popularity right around the same time as like LimeWire was the thing.
Well, like LimeWire came out after because when Napster got hit. Like Napster got hit hard with music sharing, and there were like all sorts of talks of litigations and whatnot. And then LimeWire came in right behind, and it's like, oh, you know what? We can do this, but we're going to do more than just music. We're going to do like
they came out in May 2000, so yeah, like a year after Napster came out.
LimeWire's got it.
I just imagine got that guy from like Resident Evil 4, like, what you downloading?
Yeah, dude, like LimeWire was. Like, you talk Wild Wild West, LimeWire was messed up. Because I can remember going through there. That's going to be incriminating. I can remember seeing a friend go through there, and that friend was finding, bootleg movies. And that friend, when that friend fired up said movie, it was like friggin' child porn.
Let's not go into that.
And it was scarring. Like mentally scarring. Yeah, it was bad. Like LimeWire, when you say LimeWire, that's what I think of. And that's one of the reasons I do not even look at LimeWire. I do not touch LimeWire. I go nowhere near LimeWire. I think LimeWire.
I didn't even realize that about it, man. I was just going to go along with the nice joke of, hey, look, this looks like a fun video, and my PC's destroyed. But I mean,
it was a haven for viruses.
That's a whole darker level than just a virus. You went way darker.
Oh yeah. Oh, like, dude, like, and I don't even remember what the hell it was that my friend was looking for, but it was one of those like it came out like, okay, on the old like boards, people be like, oh yeah, check this out. You can get this over here. And you're like, oh shit, there's no way that's true. Like when I heard on the radio that Wolverine Origins was leaked. Like there's no possible way that's true.
We'll say he tried to download a car.
No possible way that's true. But it was one of those things of like, yeah, let's just say he tried to download a car. Like there's no way that you could actually get a car. And then he tried to and was like, holy shit, it's downloading a car. The next thing you know, it was not a car.
The reasons you crashed your car in a head-on traffic.
For post-traumatic stress disorder.
To get it out of your head.
You hit that stop sign.
It's the reason you jerked your car into head-on traffic. Maybe. Yeah, like I've disabled my airbag. Maybe if I hit this car really hard,
moving
I'll
on to the
forget
actual
everything
topic.
I've done in the last week. Yeah. Anyways, actually, moving back on as we go down a dark path there, and no, don't go to the dark side there. You don't want the cookies. But yeah, I know that was a bad joke.
Is it time to give Cecil the Reaper? Yeah, really peppers again. Bad Cecil.
It's officially time to yell at him and like just
I
bring him out to the backyard and be like, "Oh, he was such a good man in his prime, but now just."
I am growing some ghost peppers in the back, so I might as penance, I might just go and just go live on YouTube and be like, all right, well, here's my penance for this episode, and just scarf one of them down. Oh, nah, you know what? I've eaten so much hot stuff that my anus.
You gave your anus the hand treatment, and no longer has those nerves.
No, yeah, it doesn't. I just burned them out. But I was thinking about it, and I was trying to think about like some of the subcultures that just that whole Napster thing really affected. And it really made, like, when YouTube came out, do you remember, like, the, Fire bad, Napster bad, that whole thing, that whole line of cartoons, like, it really did make a whole subculture of you can't use music because Big Brother music industry is going to hammer you down. The era where they tried to get,
like, hip with the young crowd, and they had like Dare and all this other crap that came out at the same time to basically be like, it's wrong to do X, Y, and B, so you shouldn't do it. Yo, what I mean?
Well, they had Dare.
Talk about a most failed program ever. I mean, I'll allude to some people I knew that would wear a Dare shirt while smoking it up.
And be basically equated to free gear to wear while doing drugs, so.
Yeah, you know what, though? Like, let's talk weed for a second. Everybody here, everybody I'm looking at grew up with that whole stigma, that whole lesson of weed is bad, marijuana is going to kill you, it's going to be a gateway drug. And I was going to say, and exactly, I and everybody else friggin' here know that the only thing that weed is a gateway for is a gateway to gaining weight.
You know what the real gateway to drugs and all that kind of crap really is? Alcoholism, drugs. You know what the real gateway is? Well, I was going to say trauma in general. I mean, trauma, whether it be from shitty parents, some scarring life event. Most people you find that are addicts or whatever, they've had some fucked up shit happen to them, and it really turned them to try to, do the escapism. Let's be real. It's trauma.
I am appalled that you would suggest I'd ever partake in anything like weed. A little bit. Can
you suck in a little bit louder there into your mic? Just really get that sound going.
We should introduce him to Lloyd.
Dude,
I did actually. We actually video Skype not that long ago.
Should totally reach out to him.
He actually has a YouTube channel. I was checking it out.
Yeah, he was messaging me. I was looking at that, yeah. But anyway, so bring forward. Let's skip forward several years into now. Like, it's funny how like the music industry and everybody in the music well, not everybody, but a lot of people in the music industry were all like, down with this. No, nay, says the man. Like, we can't give our music away for free. That's how we make money. And then you look at people now, and you've got Metallica doing a completely flip of the wig. Who are like, yeah, go, yeah. We want people to listen to our music. Well, we want to do that. Now, granted, I'm pretty sure the creators of Stranger Things paid a premium to get that song licensed for that show. So it wasn't like they just, hey, we're going to use this and not tell them.
It is kind of funny. You remember the band System of a Down, of course? Great band. One of their albums was literally labeled "Steal This Album," which was kind of funny because they were really good about commenting on the, social culture and everything else. Yep.
It was in a clear case, and it was literally just a plain old burned CD with words like almost looked like it was perfectly handwritten.
And you now have to drink.
Just basic burned CD. Steal this album.
Basic.
Is that a thing?
Oh shit!
If I say the word, or if anybody says the word basic, thanks to me, you got to drink.
Yeah, if you say that word on the show, everybody's got to drink.
Yes. It's
one
an
episode he
explanation.
said, and I'm not going to drink to this. I'm explaining the one episode he literally said basic or basically probably no less than 50 times. And about midway through the show, we're like, dude, if you keep saying basic, you're going to have to drink. He's like, oh, okay. And then like the next sentence he had basic.
I
and
wish
it's
the
like,
story started
Jesus
with a
Christ.
long
So now
time
it's just a
ago
gag.
in a galaxy far, far away. The word basic was used 110 times that day.
And Greedo did not shoot first.
Do you know who remembers? Pepperidge
You know,
Farm
Cecil,
remembers.
I wouldn't keep saying Pepperidge Farm
Basically.
remembers. The Clintons might get involved.
They basically come at night. Basically.
But yeah, did you notice something? It's actually like, I don't know. Maybe you guys can tell me if you remember this. But growing up, I don't ever remember anybody ever getting ragging on somebody for all of a sudden enjoying a music type. Like, for instance, if all of a sudden I started listening to Louis Armstrong and I'm like, wow, Louis Armstrong's fantastic. I don't think I've ever heard somebody who was like really into Louis Armstrong going, oh man, you just started listening to Louis Armstrong. I've been listening to Louis Armstrong for 30 years and
I mean,
you're not a Louis
like
Armstrong
that,
fan.
but I remember JR used to rag on people because he hated Weezer. Yeah, hating on. No, but not for being a big enough
that's a different
fan.
story. Like that's you're ragging on somebody for liking something
Which
you
seems
don't.
to be kind of the thing these days.
Well, that's what I wanted to point out was like, there were people, and this actually prompted Metallica to do a post. There were people like ragging on people for all of a sudden like, oh my God, this is awesome. I love Metallica now. And they're like, oh, well, I've been a Metallica fan since, the 1980s. And you're not a Metallica fan. You just started listening to them. You're like, you're just a poser.
No fucking
Poser,
clue.
hold on. I gotta back up. Is poser even a word people use nowadays?
No, it's just people come out and they're like, you were merely adopted Metallica. I was born in Metallica.
Yeah, I did.
But I remember back in our day, it's like if somebody was like, "Oh, I'm a fan of this band now," I listen to them, and like, "Have you heard the song yet?" No, I didn't. I didn't listen to the album yet. Oh, dude, let me get you. We'd be introducing people to stuff like, "Oh, you want to be a fan now? Oh, heck yeah!" Well, if you haven't listened up right on through, let me tell you about like the beginnings of it. Let me get you some of the early stuff. Yeah, let's listen. Yeah, really, you'd be happy to get into it. Rather than today, it's like you're just shaming people for like, "You weren't born soon enough to enjoy this."
See, I hate it when people say, back in my day, because I'm not that old. And I remember listening to this stuff. I'm not that old. I'm choosing to believe that I am not that old because I'm not going, see, back in my day, I used to sit down in the living room listening to my brother play old Metallica's upstairs and I'm just jigging down and dancing left and right.
Now, dude, you were yelling at
I've
people to
started
get off
using
your
that
lawn
term,
at the beginning,
and
just before
frankly,
the show, so you're that old.
Our music is now on the oldie station, so I mean, it is. It's horrible to think at. I almost feel bad for used to calling our parents old. Dude, now it's like now I feel shitty for doing that.
I don't. They are old as shit.
They'll always be older than us.
Exactly. That's the beautiful thing is they're always going to be older. So you'd be like, you're old as fuck. But we used to listen to all this good music still. It's still old as fuck. It's not cool.
They're 120. We're 90.
Platform.
They're 120. We're 90. You're so old. It's like what the fuck.
Hey, do you want to? You want a food for thought type of thing? The moment you were born, there was nobody going to be born. There was nobody that was going to be born that's going to be older than you.
I also find it's kind of weird because, like, in the grand scheme of things, like when you have an album that comes out, some sort of type of music that comes out, we're in this day and age right now where everything is moving so fast. Like back in the day, as Dee would say, like you'd have an album come out and that artist would then have the album and they'd go on tour for like a couple more years. But right now, artists and musicians they're really pressured to come out with an album like every 2 years at like minimum. So they're churning it out. So you might miss an entire album. And you're not going to notice a hit song that comes out until you might not hear it until it hits a stream platform like Netflix or Hulu or something along those lines. And then you're like, wow, I really love this album, which is why sometimes when you have, a hit show come out that has that music in it, you suddenly see it blow up on streaming platforms. So sometimes it's a song that's so old that it kind of scopes under the radar of everyone. Then they realize how amazing the music was from back then and age. And if you really loved Master, but like if you're listening to the show right now and you discovered Master of Puppets through Netflix, please look up Metallica S&M. That album absolutely rocks.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, such a great album. And it's got Battery, and I think it's got Master of Puppets on it from the album.
Was it what orchestra was it? Was it the Trans-Siberia or was it the San Francisco? Yeah, sorry,
San Francisco. That's
Orchestra.
What the S was. The San Francisco Orchestra Metallica is what it stood for.
Yeah, and it's just you wouldn't expect a rock band like Metallica to pair with an orchestra so well, but my God, D.
And it has an awesome version of Nothing Else Matters, one of my favorite songs of all time. It's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. Like, and that's the thing. So, like, there's been, and coming from this, and I think, okay, I want to brain dump on you here for a second. I've seen it, and there was also the Kate Bush song, Running Up That Hill, that was played a lot in Stranger Things. And it's funny how fans react because, like, I was on there and I forget where I was reading it, but I was reading somebody bashing on somebody liking the Kate Bush song. And I'm sitting there going, like, why are you ragging? Like, okay, so what that they just, okay, they're now a Kate Bush fan. Look, there are groups that I only probably have heard 1 or 2 songs from them, but I consider myself a fan of their group. I just haven't heard every song that they've ever done. Because I haven't had, like, dude, there's so much music out there. Like, I don't have time to listen to everything new. Like when I listen to music, this is me a personal thing, and you guys tell me if you're different. When I listen to music, I like to sit down and listen to the music. Like I like to, like, unless it's something that I've already listened to 100 times, that I'm just like, I want the beat. I want that music to get me geared up. I want it to rev me up. I want it to get me moving. I want it to keep me on task, something like that. But if it's new music that I want to listen to, I want to sit down and I want to listen to it. I want to like grab a glass of scotch or grab a rum and sit down and actually listen to music. I also actually wind up Googling the lyrics so I can really understand what the song's saying too, simply because I'm so freaking deaf now after the army that I oftentimes have a hard time with the lyrics unless I actually look them up. So I'll look them up and say, and was there any, I also look for some of the meanings of it, if there's hidden meanings that the band was trying to get to too, because I really like to understand it if I really enjoy it. Like if it kind of hits you in the feels, I would really want to understand it too, so I'll really look into it too, which is, something I do.
See, like when I listen to a music, I don't really sit down and jam out. Like I just like, if I'm listening to the radio or if I'm listening to something, like if I have like a random list on Spotify, I go about my life, and if a music resonates with me, it just living life, then I love it. But I never look up the lyrics because I don't like the band telling me what they intended the song to be or what the song means. I like to make up my own, like, this is what they were saying to me in this song. I don't like saying, like, hey, we were just talking about a sandwich in a shop. And I was like, oh, I thought it was about capitalism and versus socialism. I'm so disappointed now.
See, I'm somewhere in the middle between you two because I'll look up the lyrics, but I won't look up what the meaning of the song is, because I like to know what the lyrics are. One, to make sure that when I'm belting them out to the steering wheel that I'm actually singing them right, because I've done it a couple of times where I'm belting something out and I have somebody look over me going like, what are you saying? And I've been like, that's the lyrics. And like, no, that is not. And I'll be like, oh, it's sweat drips down my balls. Oh, I was having that totally wrong. I'm so sorry. But so like I'll look up the lyrics, but I won't try to look up the meaning. I'll make the meaning up
because I don't understand what the hell he's saying, but I still like the music.
Well, you see, See, Shinzu, with my hearing now, that's everything is now like Dave Matthews to me.
No one cares about your hearing.
What's that?
No one cares about that.
What'd you say, you bastard?
What? I'm sorry.
Speaking of my good hair, and I don't have a good hair, you bastard.
No, but just this, I think somebody nailed the definition of it, like music gating. You know, where you've got that person sitting at the end going, well, you're not a true fan because you don't know this. And, you know, it's like, it's that machismo bullshit that just like bugs the crap out of me of like, okay, if somebody comes along and they like something, it doesn't matter what the hell it is. Like, I don't know, like I work on cars. I enjoy working on cars. Somebody comes up to me and says, oh man, I changed my brakes on my car. Like, awesome. Like, dude, rock on. You know how many people can't change the brakes on their car? You are a frigging awesome person because you can change the brakes on your car. I'm not going to be like, yeah, dude, I was just tearing off the head and I was literally replacing the rings on my fucking pistons. No, I'm not doing that. I'm like, dude, you freaking did your brakes. Hey, next time you do it, can I stop by? We'll drink a beer.
I just learned how to swap the brakes on my car, and I did it, and I was super, super happy about that. But I agree with you because
That's awesome.
I hate it. Like, I'll have a band I really love, and, you know, we all kind of like, sometimes you find a band, and you're like, I really love this album, but that's like their third or fourth album in, and then you run into someone else who also likes them. They're like, oh, have you listened to this album? You're like, no, I haven't really gotten around to it. They're like, oh, you're not a real fan then. See, I sip their band with a mild tea and and I can hate that. Yeah, I hate that because at the same
that's
time,
how I know those are the people I don't want to talk to.
I hate that at the same time because I feel like that sort of like notion is toxic and it turns a lot of people off the music as well.
Basically, it's like, you know, like whether it be gaming and music, you got these game snobs, music snobs, and all they're doing is mansplaining the shit to you. It's like, dude, let people enjoy shit. Just let them enjoy it.
Actually, it's a lot like when people play, like, let's say, for example, you're playing Final Fantasy for the first time. Then this is an established game that has been around as long as D's been alive, which is a long fucking time.
All right, I've been around longer than that, actually. But still.
Back in his day, the fantasy was final.
Yeah, I say we've been around longer.
But, like, it's like jumping in at like Final Fantasy 14 online and saying, oh, I love the Final Fantasy series, and having, you know, D come on going like, oh, you're not a real fan. You don't know what it's like having to play on a gamepad with 4 buttons.
So like and that's like a great point, is that we've had people on this show that were like, oh, I've never played a Final Fantasy. And we've been like, oh, dude, okay, if you're going to play them, go check out, like, this is a great, like, we're like, hey, go check out Final Fantasy 6. Like, okay, everybody knows I love Final Fantasy 4. I always recommend Final Fantasy 6 because I know it's a superior game. And if, like, you've never jumped into a Final Fantasy, it's the best one to, like, get a good feel
especially
for what Final Fantasy is about and get a great feel for it. And then you can jump into Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 5, you know, jump into some of the older, you know, ones. And
along
really
the lines of games and in terms of music and all that other stuff too as well. Like, that goes for anything. Like, just because you discovered it now and someone else discovered it, like, or listened to it 10 years prior, doesn't make their discovery of that band, game, or whatever anything worth anything less. Let people discover things and enjoy it. Like, there is not a single human being alive that said, I've been following Metallica since I heard them playing in a garage. That is not a thing. You discovered the music when you discovered it, and you enjoy it. Let other people enjoy it.
Yeah, so it actually reminds me of a conversation I got back into on the Discord like forever ago. And it's actually funny because it actually ties into this. Okay, if you get a game, I don't care. What's a new game coming out? Everybody's interested. Let's say Starfield. Everybody interested in Starfield? Maybe not interested in, like,
Starfield.
hey,
I want Starfield, but I also am aware that it's Bethesda, so I'm going to give it like a good 6 months before getting it. Okay. Perfect. This is actually a perfect example then. So, Starfield. Okay. Some people are going to be like, oh my God, I have to get this game and I have to be the first one to get it and I have to be the first one to complete it. And then there's like yourself. I'm going to get it, but I'm going to wait.
I don't have to be the first one to play it. I don't have to be the first one to beat it. I don't have to be the guy who gets through all the storyline as quickly as humanly possible. I had a conversation back in the Discord where I said, specifically, I said, I'm not that competitive with games. And the conversation took a twist because they couldn't get out of their head that I was saying I was not competitive with games. They thought I was talking about competitive gaming, which is a completely different subject. Competitive gaming, playing Diablo competitively, playing Counter-Strike competitively, playing Apex Legends competitively. There are competitive games, and I do that in air quotes. There are competitive games, and then there's being competitive with games. And it's like, it's really funny because I'm sitting there like, they're telling me that I'm wrong. And I'm like, no, I'm not. You don't understand the English language. And I'm trying to be kind about saying you don't understand the English language. But like with games, I don't need to be the first person to complete the game. I want to enjoy the game as I enjoy it. So I might say, like when somebody starts talking about, for instance, Starfield, somebody starts talking about it, I'm probably gonna be like, dude, make a thread. I don't want to read it. I want to be surprised when it comes to it. I want to experience it for myself. And that's like the non-competitiveness in me. It's like, I just don't want it spoiled, but I don't need to be the first person to complete something. I used to be very competitive. Like, don't get me wrong. I used to be very, very competitive. I used to have to get the game right when I got it and then beat it like as quickly as possible. But I've turned into, I'm not that competitive with gaming. And just like, the way you said it. And like, that's like with music and stuff. I like that there are people not that competitive with music. There aren't those people that are like, oh, you've heard this? You dig it? Oh, well, I've heard every single one of their albums and I know their first album by heart. I'm not that guy.
And I like when I find people this ties in exactly what you're saying as well, is that I used to be a really competitive guy. I have two brothers, an older and a younger brother, and we used to go to midnight releases of games. We'd rush home. My younger brother and I would rush home and we would unpackage Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo Reach, and we would go through the process of seeing who could beat it the quickest, who could beat it the quickest on Legendary, who could beat it the quickest with their hand tied behind their backs. And you don't enjoy the game when it comes to that sort of thing. Like the game isn't enjoyable because you miss so much of the storyline because you're so obsessed with beating it. And as I grow older, there's one thing that anyone listening can take apart from a podcast with these three old people telling you about games that they used to play back in the day, is that just enjoy the game. Don't worry about, trying to beat it as hard as possible, as fast as possible. And don't worry about finding a band that you like that someone is like, you can't enjoy that band because you didn't discover them on their very first album back in 1999. Music tastes are always evolving. Game tastes are always evolving. When you like something, you like something. You can't control that at all. So just enjoy it. And, damn anyone who says, you're not a real fan.
It's like a bad case of keeping up with the Joneses. Everybody's like really competitive to be like early adopters. Like, I had this first. It's just a competition is what it is. Whether it be games, music. And as you go older, it just doesn't matter anymore. You're like, why can't I just enjoy shit? I mean, the whole, like, when you're younger, you're competitive, you have a competitive edge. But as you get older, you're just like, I just want to fucking sit down and chill. Just kind of like the question is, what's the best song? What's the best game? There's actually a real answer to this. What would be the best song, the best game, the best whatever? Personally, it's whatever you enjoy the fucking most.
But I think that's where, like, I think that's the subculture of how things have turned nowadays, is that it's, and I'll bring up, like, Destiny 2. It's one of the reasons why, like, I love Destiny. I really do. I've spent thousands of hours in Destiny, but the thing that has stopped me from playing it is that the game is a constant keeping up with the Joneses. It's gotten to the point now that you can't go, like, okay, I'm just going to give a quick for instance here. I used to Sherpa people through all the different raids that we had. It doesn't matter what the raid was. I would go out there, I'd pick a raid, and like once a week I would Sherpa however many people I could through, as many times as I could, whether it be clan members, non-clan members. If you didn't have, like, if you showed up, like, granted, okay, you had to meet basic levels, like you had to be a certain light level to be able to at least make it through the raid. But if you weren't, then I'd just, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. If like I had one person that was really low light level, I'd ask a friend to jump in who was a lot higher light level, who I knew the ropes and be able to help out and carry some through. But it's gotten to the point now that like you don't find people like that. Or if you do find people, it's extreme rarity that you find people that will just say, hey, you know what? You want to get through. All right. So you don't have this weapon. Maybe you're not the highest of light levels, but let's play. Let's have fun. Let's get through. Now you've got people who are out there like, okay, you have to be this light level. You have to have at least this many completions on your profile. You have to have this weapon. And if you don't have this weapon, you have to have these other 2 weapons. And it's like, to play the game, to have fun, it's almost gotten to the point where you can't, like, unless you're just playing Destiny 2, unless all you're playing is Destiny, you can't really play anything else, because if you want to get the storyline of Destiny, you've got to grind so much personally to just get the story and listen to it, but also to maintain and stay relevant, because Destiny is a very social game. If you're playing it solo, you can only get so far. You actually need people to play the rest of the activities.
Well,
did you,
when you were talking about something about, I have something related to Destiny 2. I don't know if you do or not.
You go first. I have something overall, but you go first.
So, and that's actually, I just had a question, and this is also going to play into specifically Destiny 2 aspect of this, is like I Sherpa people, because it is really, I really hate the fact that in, the early days of Destiny, they were very open. It was very easy. The community wasn't toxic. Now it's like you have to have, Cecil's right, you have to have X, Y, and B in order to qualify for a raid. No one likes to Sherpa people anymore. And I think that has scared a lot of people away from Destiny 2. And I feel like because of that, Bungie really hasn't developed a lot of things to eliminate that. Like, they honestly create raids and things that require you to have specific equipment, which feeds into this notion that if you don't play the game all the time, you don't have the equipment, you don't have what it takes to complete these raids. Like, there's this whole elitist attitude towards Destiny 2, and I really don't like it. In regards to that, what are one of the raids that you remembered, Cecil?
Oh, like, I mean,
in D1
we can go all the way back from Atheon and the Time Vaults. Oh, well, I was going to say D1, I mean, Atheon, Dark Below, The Wrath of the Machine, Oryx. I mean, all of these, I think I've Sherpa'd at least
so Atheon,
100
Vault
people
of Glass,
through
right?
each different raid.
Yeah, that's still a current raid in Destiny 2.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And I've played it, and they've changed enough in it that I think it makes it really good. But even in Destiny 1 or Destiny 2, like the Leviathan, there were so many different things that you could do in the Leviathan, and it was a great raid to Sherpa people through, because it had enough elements where you're like, oh my God, I've got to memorize this specific stuff to just get to where I got to go. And having a person who was strong doing that was really like half of your time.
And on
was
that
just running
note,
around the
they
Leviathan
took away the
figure shit out.
Leviathan, but now the Leviathan's back, but not the raid.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I saw that.
I think a lot of it also goes to this competitive, like YouTube stuff. Like, streamers, YouTube, they're trying to be the first so they can get out. They get the most views, they get the most money, and they're all trying to do this, like, one up in extreme stuff like that. But you also see how quickly a lot of these people burn the fuck out. Yeah, or die. Yeah, they burn out. Die. It's like we're this big keep it up with the Joneses thing to get the first, to get the money, get the and people. It's like after a while, it's just like just chill and enjoy. And everybody's trying to be the first at everything, and it's like it's just not healthy. It's just like calm down.
No, but I agree with D on that one. If you ever really want to see like how fast paced people's attentions are in the gaming community, you go to Twitch, you see which games are, quote unquote, hot right now or streaming now, and you'll see when a game first launches, it's on everyone's platform, but then the interest kind of drops off. So the streamers try to get through as fast as possible, and if they're playing a game that requires a lot of competitive modes, whether it be Destiny, PlayerUnknown, Apex Legends, and they seem to be getting all these crazy shots, they might be hacking.
Well, also, I mean, like, it just, and that type of mentality that you're seeing just in Twitch and stuff like that of these streamers who are the top streamers. I'm not going to name them because I just don't want to give them any real credit. But these top streamers, all they're doing, they're not actually like, I would love to put them to task and just be like, all right, you've played this game, you've played that game. Let's talk the story and really deep dive into the story on some of these games that they've just consumed to get through and be on top and play. Now, granted, when they're making money off of it, they possibly have more time to really dig into the story and learn some stuff. But I would bet you that they're really learning it from just jumping on a wiki and reading what somebody else wrote versus experiencing it for themselves. They're mainlining the story and they're mainlining the data as quickly as possible just to stay relevant. And it really, like, it started to make gaming in general very toxic, because if you're not keeping up with the Joneses, you're looked down upon. It's like, well, why aren't you doing that? Like, okay, Shadow of Mordor. How old is that game?
Didn't it come out on the original Xbox
it's
first?
Years old.
Xbox 360.
Oh, Xbox 360. Okay, yeah.
I think it was, yeah. I remember it on PS3. I think it was on PS3 where I remember it from first. But my point is that I'm just finally getting to the point where I just beat that game. I've had it forever.
It's a fun game.
I finally got to the point where I could beat it. Yeah, it's a fun game. And I finally got to the point where I beat it. But I don't think I could say, hey, I beat Shadows of Mordor. And I don't think anybody's going to be like, and I don't know anybody, even in my current circle, that would be like, hey, man, that was a great game, wasn't it? Oh, man, did you like this? And they'll start talking about something that they remember from it. I think society or gaming just in general has just turned into oh, well, God, that game's so old. You just beat it now?
And this, honestly, if you're a Twitch streamer, which I do plan on getting into, I ordered some stuff to help my life, make my life a little bit easier, and I will probably be streaming on Wednesdays. It's the Twitch audience as well. It's such a short attention span. Like, they're like, oh, this game is cool, but a week goes by and you're like, oh, this is old news. What else you got? So you have the Twitch streamers who are, who generally want to provide entertainment, but they also have to stay on top of what's popular and what's current. And I think that's really the major issue, is that, their attention span for the audience is like, so.
Oh, bro, if you need help with anything or you need to get us some equipment, just let me know. I'll send you some stuff, dude.
First off, don't bro me. It's bruh.
It's bruh. It's bruh. That's right. It's bruh.
We have to do the Spartan. Grab each other by the arms, and go. Blah!
Okay. Well, you actually hit on a very specific thing there that I want to point out, is that the stuff that you watch on Twitch is entertainment. And it doesn't matter whether that person is talking to you directly on stream or whatever it may be. It's entertainment. And don't delude yourself into thinking in any way, shape, or form. It's like meeting, I don't know, Ryan Reynolds or whoever.
I wish.
Midler. I don't know if you want to go that old. It's when you meet them, like, yeah, great, you met them. You're a blip on the radar. Like, don't think for a second that, like, these people are going to drop what they're doing to make sure that you are getting what you need. They're going to follow wherever the money is. And the money tells them, I'm going to consume this game. When this game is not hot, I'm going to go to the next game. When that game's not hot, I'm going to go to the next game, etc., etc., etc. Not all Twitch streamers are like that. There are plenty out there who found their niche, and they said, I'm going to play this game, and the people that hang out with me. But I will guarantee, if those people got big, wherever that money came from, that's what they would follow.
And I'd like to say that if I ever met Ryan Reynolds, there better be a bottle of gin in it for me, because I like gin. Also, I feel like, yes, Twitch is entertainment, and I feel like some people, when they go to Twitch, they have this notion that, at least I have a notion that when people watch Twitch streamers, they don't want to see somebody play a game. They want to see somebody excel at a game. And that is a topic, if you guys haven't talked about, I would love to get into, about why, how the audience kind of pushes Twitch to be, or any streaming service like that, to be what it currently is. But I don't want to get too far off the topic in terms of music within, shows and basically getting that musical bump in regards to it. Because, we saw the two songs that Stranger Things gave a Stranger Things bump to, and introduce an entire new generation to wonderful music. And I feel like people that take offense to that, like, you discovering it now is an affront to everyone who had to live through the eras the music's created. I'm like, just take a sit back. Let people discover the music the way they discover music. If it happens to be that it turns into elevator music one day and they're like, man, I really love this jingle, cool. You like music when you like music. You discover music when you discover music. There's not a single person here that can ever say that they were with the band before they were born. They witnessed their birth. They witnessed their first, guitar lesson, through the entire thing. They are the true hardcore fan, quotation marks. Just let people be music lovers.
Well, the cool part is that you never know when somebody is going to be influenced by a song that they hear, and all of a sudden they're going to make the next music. You don't know who the next Dave Grohl is going to be. You don't know who the next, Kurt Hammond is going to be. You don't know who any of these people are going to be. I'll even bring it up, even though, look, I hate the guy's music mostly, but you can hear a lot of different influences in his music that are strong influences from around even the music that we're talking about. But like even Machine Gun Kelly, like you never know who's going to be that next big star. And yes, look, I don't like Machine Gun Kelly. There's a majority of his stuff that is just, I feel is complete trash. However, he's got a couple of songs that I honestly like, that's actually pretty good. Like that's a good song.
You're of course talking about a musician who got slapped so hard in one genre, he swapped to another.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's okay because take a look. Okay, come on, man. Let's take a look at Red Hot Chili Peppers. They have jumped from so many different genres. Take a look at Beck. Beck has jumped from so many different genres of music. Metallica has jumped, and everybody jumps. It's the way music evolves. It's the way music progresses. It's not a bad thing. Like, it's not a bad thing if a band, like, listen to Rush. Rush has made the same sounding music since the 70s. Granted, they're not making any music anymore because Parrot's dead, but they've been making the same style of music, the same sounding music since the 70s. And I enjoy it, and there's plenty of fans that enjoy it. But then there's like the Red Hot Chili Peppers who, like, every album has like a little sound that you're like, oh yeah, that's Red Hot Chili Peppers. But like, you take their first album to their last album that was just released, and they sound night and day different. Like, they are.
I feel like that's sounds. I feel like that's Mumford & Sons, where they even ended up being a Family Guy joke, where they were like, go ahead and create the same song over and over and over and over again. I used to love the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and then I re-listened to them later on. I'm just like, I wasn't a fan, and I think that's also like your music taste will evolve. Like, I used to love some bands back in the day, and I don't like them now. But I like new bands I didn't like back in the day.
Yeah, like another one, Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam has made a very, like, across their discography, they've made a wide range of songs and styles of music. It's just, it's like, I guess, like, growing up, I hated country music. Like, hated it with a passion. If it turned on, I wouldn't even, like, I wouldn't give it the time of day. Do you know what actually really started making me
the old original stars music? That where it was good, it was closer to rock versus the twangy, achy, breaky heart, I lost all my shit type stuff? Or
well, so ironically, the newer stuff is more like rockabilly, which is what you're talking about, which is more rock based. But no, what happened was I went to a Country Fest concert with my wife. Well, my girlfriend at the time, wife now. I always say that because we've been together so freaking long. But anyways, went to a Country Fest concert, and Charlie's Daniels Band took the stage. And you've heard this story before. They got up there, and they started playing a cover of Tool's Sober. And they nailed it. Like, 100% nailed it. It was amazing. Granted, there was only me and, like, one other dude in the crowd that realized they were playing Tool Sober and that it was good. But they nailed it. And after that, I was like, these bands, like, they're just bands. They make their music and they're bands. So then I started really opening up and listening to more country and realized that not all of it's great, of course, but there's a lot of it that's really good.
Yeah, interesting thing. My boss actually introduced me to this. He's a cool guy, by the way. A really cool guy, but the lead singer of Tool, and before Tool was like Tool, like the earlier version of the band, and some of the earlier song that later became like the big hits. Dude, listen to that. It's awful. They started off awful. Like the earlier version of the band before they turned into Tool was, I listened to it, I was like, this turned into what we know now. I'm like, holy shit. It really is pretty, a lot of stuff can really change.
For me personally, like, I can't stand country. There's only one band I've ever listened to that I've been like, I can enjoy this, and that was Darius Rucker. When he split off from Hootie and the Blowfish and became a country singer, I was like, I enjoy this stuff, but everything else, I just hate country.
But you got to admit, though, his voice is fucking incredible.
Whose voice?
Darius Rucker.
No,
man,
I like when he sings country.
Even
I
live,
enjoy it.
But the thing is, even live, like a lot of people are like, they sound really good on CD. Then you hear him in real life, it's like, he is just fucking incredible, even live.
Well, there's a couple of people that I want to point out that I really feel when they made their country equivalent songs came out really well. Now, I don't like the band all that well. There's a few songs that they like, but have you heard Seether's country song? It's actually good, but it's a country song, and they named it the country song. But is
it a song about Amy Lee leaving him?
Another one. No, I don't remember actually what it's about, but it's honestly a great song.
I have always liked Johnny Cash.
Everyone likes Johnny Cash.
Oh, that Cash and he does great. That and he does a fantastic version of "Hurt" from Nine Inch Nails.
Oh God, that's a different level right there, man. Like Johnny Cash's "Hurt" is just like that was Trent Reznor going, dude, I would be honored for you to do anything you want to that song. If you want to mess it up so that nobody ever listens to it again, you go right ahead, because that's Johnny Cash, man.
Also, you know what's interesting?
No,
sorry, I wasn't done. I'm sorry. Right. You know what's also interesting to see is like Disturbed, right? Doing the Simon and Garfunkel "Sound of Silence." What's really cool to hear is just like a lot of people when they get big heads, right? The lead singer of Disturbed was actually terrified. He admits it in a lot of like interviews. He's like, I did not want to fuck up that song. I wanted to do them proud. I was so fucking nervous. Like the guy was terrified to do it. But it came out so awesome.
I think that's also kind of a cool, like, that's another topic I love to discuss, is sometimes, because like I've listened to the Garfunkel version of it, and I've listened to the redone Disturbed version of Sound of Silence, and I prefer when Disturbed did it, because I think it just kind of carries that. But also like the same deal with like Diary of Jane. I prefer it when Breaking Benjamin did it, as opposed to the original artist. And I think that, like, same thing with Shinedown when he covered the song 45. I think those bands, in my opinion, did it better than the original. And like, it's sometimes like a song comes out. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry to stop you, but my brain just exploded.
Yes.
Diary of Jane was a cover?
I'll have to look
Who's
it up.
sang it originally?
I'll do so right now, and I'll let you know in a second.
All right, so 45, I always assumed was a cover, but I thought 45 wasn't a cover.
No, I'm pretty sure it was a cover.
I got to look it up now, because I always thought 45. Like, I know that they did a few of them. An acoustic cover 45 was featured. Background.
I don't
think 45 was a cover.
Oh no, we're gonna get attacked by people who are like, "See, you people don't know the bands at all. You're not really their fans."
Well, no, I'm saying I don't believe 45 is a cover, and I don't think I'm looking it up now. I don't think 45 is a cover. Diary of Jane, I had no clue about. So if that's a cover, I want to know.
I'm pretty sure it was. I mean, I could be wrong. D, am I incorrect? Is it? I thought Diary of Jane was a cover.
According to Google, Diary of Jane looks like the original is Breaking Benjamin's. But I'm looking.
Okay. I thought it was a cover.
So here I'm reading about 45 Shinedown song. The inspiration for the song really came from, I think a lot of people kind of take a literal sense because of the lyrics, but the song is basically about a day that you wake up and you look at yourself in the mirror and you finally decide what you want to try to become comfortable in your own skin. Yeah, this doesn't say
Maybe it's
anything
not
about
a
being
cover.
What's interesting is how many songs were actually covers of Depeche Mode. Personal
there's a ton out
Jesus,
there.
that was Depeche Mode.
Oh, what was that song that
Don't sing the song.
didn't
Yeah, I'll butcher it.
Oh my god, now I forgot the name of the band. Oh, it's gonna kill me. They did Killing Something. Kill Engage. Something Engage. Who the hell is that?
Kill Switch Engage?
Kill Switch Engage. They did a cover of a song. Or maybe it was Pantera.
I know Korn did a cover of a Metallica song I actually didn't like, and I love Korn.
Oh my god, there are bands who do covers of
which one?
songs and they sound absolutely atrocious. I can't remember. Somebody did a cover of Panic at the Disco, one of their songs, and it was so bad.
Pantera did a cover of a song. And it's killing me. It's either Kill Switch Engaged or Pantera. Oh my god. I'm gonna friggin' my brain's gonna explode. I'm just killing so much time right now. And there's somebody probably listening that's like, I know what song you're talking about.
And that's when they turn around and say, "You're not a real fan. See, I was born. I lived through their albums."
It was Kill Switch. No, I was right. It was Kill Switch Engage with Holy Diver. You guys remember that song?
Before my time.
Wasn't Holy Diver done by Dio? Or am I mistaken on that?
Dio, yeah. It was done by Dio. Kill Switch Engage nailed it, though. Like, I honestly think the Kill Switch Engage version is better than the Dio version. But yeah, like, okay, so Diary of Jane is
I thought
not a
it
cover.
was. I apologize. I was incorrect on that one.
Same. I was agreeing with him. I'm in the same boat. I thought it was too, and I'm totally wrong with that one.
All right, and 45 does not seem to be a cover.
Same. I am guilty.
Something else that I honestly, like, I grew up and I was told that it was a cover, and I just honestly believed that it was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
No, I can believe it because it sounds really, really good, and it sounds like it's a cover of something. Like, it sounds like they did a really great cover.
You know who else did? Another song by Disturbed that was a great cover. Land of Confusion was originally done by Genesis. Disturbed has a really good version of Land of Confusion as well.
So this is where I'm going to come out, and I'm probably going to anger the two of you. I hate Disturbed. I used to love them. I still love them. I really did.
It's not going to anger me.
I used to love them, and the thing that killed me was I went to see them live, and it was Nonpoint, Flyleaf, Stone Sour.
Flyleaf and Stone Sour. Ooh, good.
I'd love to have been there.
Okay, and then it was Disturbed. All right, they had Nonpoint get up there. Nonpoint, like, they hit the stage. And I swear to you, I have been to so many concerts. I mean, I have a buzzing in my ear now that's permanent. That's tonight. This is never going away. I've been to so many concerts. I have never in my life, seen a crowd go from mingling and talking and just being like loud, like just a stadium of people standing, just sitting there talking, to instant energy. Nonpoint, literally. It wasn't even like they just walked on stage. Like, everybody's talking. Nobody even noticed the drummer get behind the drums. All of a sudden, bam, it hits, and everybody in that room is like fucking kicking it and jamming out. I'm like, holy shit. Flyleaf got on next. My opinion, Flyleaf probably should have went on first because Flyleaf kind of took the energy down a little, because Flyleaf's good, don't get me wrong, but their songs are way more mellow compared to Nonpoint.
Very true.
And Nonpoint's got that one great cover. Do you guys remember that cover?
I didn't even know who you're talking about, honestly.
No. You know who Nonpoint is? Oh, man. Nonpoint's got some great
And here's where
tunes.
Cecil and D came up and be like, you don't know Nonpoint, you fucking noob!
No. If you get a chance, totally check out Nonpoint. And if you liked Disturbed's cover of Land of Confusion, Nonpoint does a cover of In the Air Tonight that is spectacular.
I haven't heard that one yet, but I'm definitely Googling that. I'm going to look at that up later.
Yeah, if you get a chance, Nonpoint's got some great music.
Dare you to Bing it.
Totally check them out. Anywho, so Flyleaf came on, And then Stone Sour came on, and I'm telling you right now, if there is any performer out there that can take control of a crowd, Corey Taylor can take control of a crowd.
I love Stone Sour. I mean, Corey Taylor first did Slipknot, and then of course, Stone Sour. I love Stone Sour, and so does the wife. I mean, it's just phenomenal.
There's two main songs from Stone Sour I love. I think it's Looking Through the Glass, and then I forget the other one. I'm drawing a complete blank on the other one, but it's another one of his more popular songs.
Bother. I'll bet you money it's Bother.
Yes, it is actually. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I like Bother is one. I think it was off their Spider-Man soundtrack. I want to say Bother was on Spider-Man. It was on a movie soundtrack.
Spider-Man?
I want to say that it was on Spider-Man. I'm probably gonna be proven wrong here.
Yeah, Bother's one of my wife's favorite songs too.
Yeah, it's so good. And they like Snuff. Snuff was another great song by them. But anyway, so Stone Sour got up there, and as I said, Corey Taylor can just take control of a crowd and really like get you going. Disturbed got up there, and like, okay, everybody up until now, they're all over the stage, they're getting going, they're talking to the crowd, they're interacting with the crowd, they're getting the crowd pumped and going. Disturbed got up there, and I'm not gonna lie, they just kind of stood there and just sang. Like they just stood, like the guys like didn't really, like the guy just sat there and he played guitar. I don't even remember his name now, because like at that point in time I'm just like, I don't, like everybody up till now has blown the doors off this place, and you're playing your music, but you're just like, all right, are you guys ready? Glens Falls? It's like you couldn't even memorize where you were before you got on stage. Like, really? You've got a plaque in front of you that says Glens Falls, New York.
So in other words, they're basically just going through the motions at this point. Disturbed has gotten so big, it's going through the motions rather than really putting on a show.
Or they've gone through 100 shows and they're just tired.
Well, but I mean, I'm going to be honest here. Whether you've gone through 100 shows and you're tired, I'm pretty confident that those other 3 bands that were just on stage have gone through just as many shows because they're on tour with you.
Fair.
Like, and they still brought it. Like they came into the house swinging.
And the fans, even though you might have done 100 shows, to the fans, this is maybe their first fucking concert, their first show.
Yeah, it was my first Disturbed concert,
and that's what they're really looking for. Like even today, I mean, how long has Rob Zombie, and previously White Zombie been on the scene? And Rob Zombie still, from what I hear, I haven't seen it lately, but Rob Zombie puts on some killer shows.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like I think, okay, a band that is and you can hate the band all you want, I don't care. The band that will always I will give props to is Papa Roach, because no matter whether they're in a band, no, hear me out for a second, okay? No matter whether they're in a small, like 300 person venue or they're playing for 20,000 people, they give you a show. Like they get up on there, they get up on stage, they get the energy going, they interact with the crowd, they give you the songs you want, they come back, they they will give you, I mean, it's how they make their money, of course, and I get that, but they will give the fans what they want.
See, I thought when you said people are going to attack me, I immediately thought you were going to go Nickelback, and I was like, you are incurring the wrath of the internet, my friend.
I have never seen Nickelback in concert. However, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Nickelback in concert.
On a side note, one of the first concerts I went to was Papa Roach and Breaking Benjamin, and that was the one D got kicked out of.
Northern Lights?
Yeah. No. I didn't get kicked out of. The girlfriend at the time got kicked out of, and I followed her out to make her feel better.
Oh, we all know what happened.
She got kicked out. I did not.
I was going to say, like, I saw another band, Skindred. Skindred was one of those bands that really, like, they brought energy to the stage.
And I was so jealous because Cecil got to meet the frickin' Breaking Benjamin's band. Well, I was out consoling her dumb butt.
I actually drank beers with Papa Roach for like a couple hours because I went in there. Because I went in there when I went to go. I went up. I did the whole. Okay, so I'm up there. First time I'm seeing Papa Roach, Northern Lights. It's a small venue, like super small venue. You know, when I got there, they're like, "Hey, you want to buy the VIP pass?" I'm like, "What's the VIP pass?" Oh, well, you know, you can go, you meet and greet with the band afterwards. They can sign some stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. So of course, while I'm there, I'm like, well, let me go pick up the album while I'm here because I don't own the album. Might as well go pick it up. So I was going to buy a bunch of drinks, but instead, I'll just get the album instead because I was a poor freaking, college student. I didn't have fucking money. I'm like, all right, I'm going to pick that up. So went to go see him. And of course, I'm like a row back from first row because it was all standing room. And y'all know me. I'm a tall guy. So I'm sitting there and I'm standing above everybody else. And like, it's jamming out. I like, he comes down and he's giving, fist bumps to people in the crowd. And I just, of course, reach a hand up. He gives me a fist bump and I'm like, yeah, devil horns back to him. And it was one of those, yeah, he looked at me like, nah, he was just looking at somebody else. It's all cool, whatever. And like, we're jamming out. So when we go back and we go to get our stuff signed, I'm sitting there, I'm waiting in line, and I get to the drummer, and the drummer's like hitting on this chick, so he barely cared who the hell I was. And he's just like, yeah, he signed quick. I handed it to I actually fucked up. The bassist, I opened up to the guitars page, and he got all pissed. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I was like, oh, I fucked that up. I get to Jacoby. As soon as I got to him, he's like, hey, man. And he gives me a fist bump. He's like, dude, you were right there, front and center. I'm like, yeah, man, I was. He's like, dude, you were like a foot above everybody in that crowd. I was like, well, I'm a tall guy. He's like, it comes with the territory. He's like, I was like, the hair's a lot thinner. And I made him laugh. And he's like, bro. And like, we started talking for a second. And like, the ushers that they got going on. Sorry, I'll get you right in a second, Travis. As soon as the ushers are going on, they're like, hey, you gotta go. And I'm like, oh yeah, shit, sorry. And Jacoby's like, nah, fuck you, dude. Here, just take a step back for a second. And he's sitting there and like, he's signing other stuff and like talking to people, but he's talking to me at the same time. So like all of a sudden he's like, well, hey, come on back here. And he like motioned for somebody else. So I grabbed a chair and I'm literally sitting like in between the bassist, who I'm pretty sure I pissed off, and Jacoby. And like they're bringing beers over. I'm sitting there drinking beers. Like they get through everybody in the fucking line. And we're still sitting there drinking beers, and a couple other people end up sticking around too. And we're all just sitting there drinking beers, bullshit with the band. And I'm just sitting there going, like, I'm fucking drunk at this point in time. I like all this beer, all the money I didn't spend on beer, because I spent it on the album till I get them to sign it. Like, they picked beers up and handed them to me, and I was drunk. Like, I was gone. But it was really friggin' awesome. And I was just sitting there drinking beers with the band. I'm like, holy shit, like, I'm going to remember this.
That is really you. You're so chill. You managed to squeeze into things. So, like, I think the only story I have in regards to like a VIP treatment was, I bought tickets to see a show, with Chevelle, Finger 11, Evanescence. It was in Glens Falls, and I had.
Oh,
we all went together.
Was that in Glens Falls?
And
I saw the same show.
Yeah,
I was there.
we took Zyber too. See, what happened is that the local radio station was doing a contest, and I won the contest. So I got VIP passes, and I gave my tickets to Zyber. So he went and he brought somebody, and I got to go backstage. And part of that was you got to fight Chevelle in Halo 2, and I spanked him like a drum. And in the hallway, I got to meet Amy Lee, and we talked for a few minutes, and she just seemed like the nicest person. And then I got to chill out with Chevelle for a bit, and they were just kind of like BSing and whatnot. I was too young to drink, but I really wish I wasn't, because it seemed like it would be a really great gateway story.
Dude, was that the same one where Finger 11 was on stage?
Yeah,
doing,
Amy Lee came out for a song for
Amy
Finger 11
came
and a
out
song
on
for
stage
Chevelle
and
too.
started singing.
Like she joined
them.
them. Yeah, she joined them for both. It was honestly an amazing show, and I honestly didn't expect to hear Amy Lee sound that good live.
Oh, dude, it was amazing. And the best part is that after she comes out, because she came out like mid-song for one thing and was singing. It was like, well, 3/4 of the way through the song and like finished that song with them. And then she like, everybody, and then she walked off stage. And I remember
it was also really funny because how that followed was that when Amy Lee's set came on, when Evanescence's set came on, she almost broke her ankle on stage because she tripped over the rug going to the piano.
Well, no. So her guitarist hit himself. Like he was doing something with the car, and he like threw it or spun it up, and it hit himself. And they went over and they did My Immortal instead. They cut straight to My Immortal, and My Immortal wasn't supposed to come on for like 2 or 3 more songs.
Amy Lee also like almost tripped on stage too. Like they had that carpet, they had their piano, and they had the carpet out, and she kind of almost did like a little trip fall on that, but she caught herself.
Oh, that. Oh, that I didn't remember. I remember the guitarist though. I want to say he did something, like he went to throw the guitar. He did something and it hit his hand. And they were like, oh shit. And they stopped the song. They were like almost done with the song anyways, but they stopped the song. And she was just like, all right, well, bring the piano up, bring it up. And they literally raised the piano up, and she, without missing a beat,
it was a great night.
She was like, "Yeah, we're just going to change up the set list for a quick second."
It was really funny too, watching her limousine stop across the street at Stewart's to get gas.
I would love to have gotten to meet her.
Honestly, I was so worried because one of my greatest fears.
I would love to have gotten to meet her. She seems like she would be a really cool person,
you
know.
An actor
besides, so talented,
or a musician, and then just being total douchebags, because that ruins it for me. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You don't meet your heroes.
I'm actually happy that how I met Carrie Elwes actually at Baltimore Comic-Con. I went back and got the got the little pass so I could go ahead and get a signature for Jess, because she's a huge fan of the Princess Bride. I mean, I am too, but much more so her. But I was talking to another guy, another vet. You know, like you had those guys there that were like representing like the vets and everything else, doing their stuff. Him and I were chatting, and when Carrie Ellis heard that I was a vet, he actually came up and gave me a hug. So then I got the pass and got in line and, got the, signature, and everything else. And I chatted with him for a few minutes, but he heard I was a disabled veteran, and just came up and gave me a hug, which is really cool. And he actually, in person, he seemed like a really genuinely nice person, as opposed to fake nice or, putting on a show. He seemed to be genuinely nice and interested. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, I only met him for a few minutes, but so I can't tell for certain, but he seemed like a cool guy.
If you remember that one, what the end result of that was.
Well, she was very put offish from what I heard. With she didn't meet with the owner, Barbara or whatever, but she did, and she met Mom by mistake, because Mom got lost in the backstage looking for a freaking bathroom. But she did sign a hat for me. So being a disabled vet, she did sign some stuff for me, which was cool too. So, I mean, it's kind of like, was she just busy and stressed and tired, or was she really being
from Iraq at that point in time for that visit? I don't know. Given a pass to meet the artists of the day, and that's the people who paid like $1,000+ for that particular ticket.
Yeah. But at the same time, even the person that started the whole center, Barbara, she didn't even get to meet her either. Mom only did because she got lost backstage.
This is true.
Yeah, but there's also
a lot of stories
of
just our family catching things on fire, like popcorn in a microwave. Probably. If you and Dee aren't setting
Mom's like a party
on fire, you're setting yourselves on fire.
Probably.
It is.
That's
or exploding. Exploding's also a common theme.
I was saying, like there's a 1,000-degree pillar of heat and smoke, and there's a Cecil coming out of the top of it. Whee!
On a happy note,
I doubt that. No. You're claiming that. I don't believe
expert in all the explosives in the military. This guy.
Nice.
Oh no! I got expert on.
I don't know how he did it without dying. I really don't. This is coming from his brother. I legitimately don't know how he got those without dying. Oh, that's fair.
I'm not saying nobody died. I'm just saying I didn't.
At the moment, just currently at this particular podcast, although I will be streaming in the future, and I will have something set up for that. I have a kind of a name in mind that's not currently taken on Twitch, so I don't want to say it before someone signs up for before me. But when I have that, I'll be happy to share it, and hopefully it'll draw people in, as well as my Twitch streaming will draw people into G.M.A. podcast.
Nice. D, where can people find you at, man?
Well, not stealing
middle-aged guy,
Twitter
it's bald,
or Twitch at
guy. Thank
bald
you very much.
old guy.
I'm not Potbelly Pork Pig 45.
I'm going to go check if that's out there.
You probably should. But people can find my website, Microbrew Gamerz, with a Z instead of an S.com. I do articles. I've been putting them some up lately. I've got to do some more again. I still have a YouTube channel. I'm going to be putting up a review of these Steam Deck I've been playing with. I've got some video footage. I'm not finished with it yet, but it'll be out shortly. Of course, I've got a Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, but I'm not on there very often. I mostly just watch other people. And of course, I've got a Discord channel, Microbrew Gamerz, but I'm mostly on the G.M.A.
does offer a very healthy article on which pastries do not get stuck in your keyboards while you're gaming.
That is important information to know, let me tell you.
Saying if you don't have it, we need that now. And I'm Cecil Xavier, your host. You can find me on Cecil vs. Games on Twitter, Cecil Xavier everywhere else, sometimes with an underscore, sometimes without. You can find me on Twitch, Ustream, Facebook, Steam, Xbox, pretty much everywhere as Cecil Xavier or Cecil Zave or Cecil X, something along those lines. I'm always Cecil X out there somewhere. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Reviews help people find the show, so if you enjoy listening to us, let other people know. You can find us on Podcast Addict, Player FM, Spreaker, MyTuner, Your Listen, iTunes, Google Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're not someplace, let me know. I'll upload there. We're probably already there somewhere. We're a partner with Humble Bundle. Humble Bundle is a game purchasing service with a twist. You can buy bundles of games and donate to charity simultaneously. So just put that partner equals G.M.A. podcast at the end of your link. That'll let us know we sent you. If you see a slider where you can give us money, don't give us money. We don't want the money. We want you to give it all to charity, maybe some to Humble Bundle, maybe some to the developer. We don't care about your money. We just want to know that we sent you there. We are getting the G.M.A. Misadventure League started back up. Actually, next week, or well, this week if you're listening to this episode, because it releases this week. But on July 22nd, we're firing it back up. We're doing homebrew. I'm going to be taking the episodes, trimming them down, and then sending them out on the Misadventure League channel, which that is not everywhere, but it's in a few key locations. So go check out G.M.A. Misadventure League. We're going to be doing a homebrew in Greyhawk. It's going to be a fun, low magic homebrew, so come join us for that. I've subscribed to Shudder. I got drunk the other night while we were watching movies, and I subscribed to Shudder, so I now have horror movies at nauseam. So maybe we'll get horror movie night going back again. Don't know. We'll see what happens. It's fun stuff, though. We're going to try to keep things going. We're getting some regular cast members on, which is great, because then I don't have to keep sitting here talking at you guys completely alone. The podcast, the website, www.gnapodcast.com. Go check it out. There's an article page there. The actual article page links right over to Microbrew Gamerz, so if you're looking for us there. There's also a link to the Discord right there that you can use to join in at your leisure. Join in, talk. We're usually bullshitting about anything and everything. Or if you just want to be on the show, you can come join the Discord and just sign up for the show, because anybody is always welcome. We always try to keep it down to about 4 or 5 people, but if you're a newbie, you kind of get priority.
I'd be more than willing to brew some beer for this group that is voted on by the audience. So they basically dictate what we be drinking in a future show. If you guys wanted to set something along those lines up.
If you want to brew a beer and you want to send it out to us, and we all drink it on the show for that night, we'll do it. I mean, we've done some bits where we drank the same beer, usually the Screw with Blue.
I'm more than willing to do so. And I don't know if I'll be able to deliver it via US Postal Service, but I could definitely make sure that you get it one way or another. And it might be something that we have to kind of like shoot off in the future. And depending upon the brew, it could take a while to brew as well. But we can talk on the side and kind of set that up.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because I'm always going up to New York and that area all the time anyway, so be good. Well, gentlemen, thank you for joining me.
You as well.
It was good.
You have a great night.
I feel good after all the crack and rum.